Oh yeah, sexy biscuits. Nice.
Long was 1975. Using words on the rise. Reviewing games late at night and sometimes friends used to bug you. Long was 1975.
Hey YouTube, Longboys Post 1975, and welcome to the weekly vlog. Now you've read the title, and I want to talk about the game list that has been released for the PlayStation Classic, or as I like to call it, the PlayStation Mini. Now, yeah, this is going to be a little bit all over the shop, and I'm going to read through the list on my phone. It's just, I saw it on my friend's Facebook page yesterday, because obviously I pre-ordered one. I pre-ordered one not knowing what the other 20 games were, and only knowing what the 5 were that they announced when they announced this PlayStation Classic console, which I think is safe to say, even though based on the success of other, or the Nintendo Mini consoles, and all lots of, these sort of plug-and-play systems, it still came kind of like out of left field. We were kind of surprised about it. And so, I don't know, there's a couple of things I just want to put right out there, which is, were they limited by the choices they could or couldn't make because it came, they announced it so close to release, and so, I don't know, this whole process seems, again, this is just me, my thoughts, their project process seems to be put together quite quickly, to get it out for Christmas. I don't know, that's all I'm saying, because let's be honest, there are the stinkers, I don't know, it might be too strong a descriptive term. Underwhelming games definitely could be on the money. Now, the other thing I want to say is I understand that taste is subjective, and this list isn't gonna, coming up with a list of limited number of games is not gonna please everyone, is it? You can't do that, and for whatever ones I say might be tat on it, there will probably be a lover to the extreme of that game. I'm not, so yeah, I'm not saying that, maybe I'm, am I being harsh, am I being critical, like, what do you do when you make a list of games like this for one of these sort of mini consoles? I would like to also say that I do hope it's hackable. I think a lot of the appeal to these systems is the fact that, I know it's not what you're supposed to be able to do, you can hack them, and then, whatever game you want on there, or whatever game they put on there, I should say, for their list is obsolete, and then you can put on whatever you want, such as the Mini SNES and the Mini NES. I don't have a Mini NES, I have a Mini SNES, and it's hacked, and I absolutely love it. And I know Raspberry Pis are a thing, I have a Raspberry Pi, but there is a certain charm and attraction to systems like this. So, right, let's quickly go through the games. So what I would like to say, the point I want to make with this is, I know taste is subjective, and coming up with a list for everyone is something that's, well, a little bit difficult. But, on the other hand, what do you do with systems like these? You go through the absolute classics, you go through all the exclusives, and you go for the ones that, across the board, got absolute fantastic reviews, etc, etc, etc. There is basically a way of, I don't know, weeding out the tat and removing nostalgic goggles from it. Well, there are certain games that are extremely old on this system, and 3D that still, are amazing games, but remove nostalgic goggles aside from it and just go for technical excellence, great reviews, great fan reception, and then come up with a killer list. And I know Japan got different games. I know Japan apparently got Parasite Eve and Gradius. But what are you going to do? That's, I'm assuming, Sony of Europe, Sony of North America, Sony of Japan. Well, I'm guessing the American list is the same. Well, it is the same. But Sony of Japan and Sony of North America and Europe, as a together unit, that's their call, that's their decision. I guess they know their respective markets. Or maybe not in the case of these games. Right, so I'm just going to read through it. This is more of a generalisation as such, and some of these I haven't played. First of all, Battle Arena Toshinden. I have a massive amount of nostalgia for this game. This was the second game I ever owned on my imported PlayStation. Well, the first game I owned, Cyber Sled, came with it. And there's no denying it blew me away at the time, and I thought it was amazing, graphics were fantastic and stuff like that. And this is what I mean about removing nostalgic goggles. It's crap. It's crap. And the bottom line with it being crap is why we ignore it being crap? Why is it even on this system when you've got Tekken 3? You know, it's clearly filler. You've got Tekken 3, the best 3D fighting game on this system, and then you put Battle Arena Toshinden on it. I don't know. Cool Borders 2, I'm indifferent to that. It's not a great game, it's not a terrible game. Maybe they've gone with, we need a snowboarding game on this system, but I don't know, it still kind of feels like filler. Now, a very early game, this is quite, I think is a good choice, it's Destruction Derby. Because, let's be honest, it was something completely and utterly different when it first came out. I still think it's fun to play. I play it on my Saturn. Yeah, I can understand that being on there. That was, you know, that was a good choice for a title. We're going to talk about what I think should be on there after this. Back on the Coke Zero. Final Fantasy VII is an absolute no-brainer. That's an absolute brilliant choice. As is Grand Theft Auto. Obviously, it's the top-down one, but let's not forget what a big deal this was, a controversy it was back in the day. And I could, you know, that's a really fun game, you know, to play. So I can understand that. Intelligence Cube. Now, I'll be honest, and this is just me. You know, I like to do. I've just got up, to be honest. I finished work and went straight to bed when I came home for once. Yeah, this is me being honest, I don't know that game, so I'll hold back on that. But Jumping Flash, we knew that was on there. Fantastic, absolutely, you know, mind-blowing. And a platformer. It's the first time in years that they took platformers into, well, the 3D dimension, a completely different dimension. I knew that was on there, but I'm super stoked for that. As I am super stoked for this, Metal Gear Solid. I think that was an absolute no-brainer. Now, the fact that this is on here, and Konami make it, and there are Konami games that didn't make the grade, how we talk about it now, I find funny, because obviously, I guess to some degree, what can and cannot be on here is a licensing thing. Because licenses, you know, expire and stuff like that, even for the content of old games. So, Sony still make Gran Turismo, but car licenses are a funky, weird thing. So is that why Gran Turismo, spoilers, 1 or 2 isn't on here? I don't know. I could be wrong. Personally, I think it's an absolute crying shame Gran Turismo 2 isn't on here. Still one of my favourite driving games of all time, and an absolute groundbreaker. Right, so anyway, yeah, Metal Gear Solid on it. No brainer, absolutely fantastic. My favourite PlayStation game of all time, my favourite game of all time, period. So if that's on here, why isn't Castlevania? Konami? I mean, really? That's, I don't know. Put it in instead of Toshinden. Or were these companies, this is what I mean about this, you know, were these companies offered only a certain number of slots? But yeah, so Metal Gear Solid, fine. No Castlevania. And then you've got Mr. Driller. I'll be honest, I've not played that. Oddworld, Abe's Odyssey. Great game, fantastic game. I like that game. Does it have such universal, far-reaching appeal that it deserves to be on one of the slots on here? I'm not quite sure about that. I'm not hating on it. If you love it, again, taste is subjective. If you love it, that's fine. But I'm not sure it deserves to be on it. Nor Rayman. I mean, are they not better platformers than Rayman that could be on it? It looks nice, it plays nice. Is it an absolute must-own die-hard title that everyone wanted back in the day? No, I always thought it was a throw-over from the Atari Jaguar, but I kind of think, I don't know, I'd love to know Sony's thought for compiling this list. You know, I guess they've tried to appeal to everyone, not just people who grew up with the PlayStation, but people who, you know, want to jump on the dare I say, bandwagon now. It can't be an easy decision, but there must be, you know, better platformers than Rayman. I'm having a complete brain fart, so I just got up and I'm popping in here, but I'm just saying, when I read this list, Rayman says underwhelming. Now, this is controversial. I'm sure loads of people out there will love this and love this choice. Resident Evil Director's Cut. Why is that on there? Yeah, you know, it redefined, like, because people think it invented, no it didn't, or the first one did. It redefined the survival horror genre. Yes, it did. Is it a good game? Yeah. All I'm going to say is, I wouldn't have it on here. I'd have Resident Evil 2. Let's be honest, it's everyone's favourite, you know, entry into the franchise. I think it's safe to say that. Resident Evil 2 is the better game. It's my second favourite game of all time. And yeah, you know, I'm not writing off Resident Evil, you know, 1 Director's Cut. I'm just saying clearly it should have been Resident Evil 2. Then you got Ridge Racer Type 4, which we knew about, which I agree with. It's probably the best entry into the Ridge Racer franchise on the PlayStation 1. And you know, when you say Ridge Racer, it's so attached to PlayStation 1 that, yeah, that had to be on it. People are complaining that you have to play it with digital pads. I don't know about you. Remember the twisty controller? Was it the Neckcom or whatever? Yeah, I had one of those, and I had the Dual Shocks and stuff like that. But all Ridge Racer games on the PlayStation 1, I played with digital pads. I don't know. Maybe that makes me a freak or a weirdo, but that's just how I like to rock and roll back in the day. Sorry, I need caffeine and my aspartame to keep my bones young for future generations to enjoy. Here's an odd one. It's a great game. I really do like it, and you should have a puzzle game on here. But I was quite surprised that this one is on here, and that would be Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo. It's a great game. It really is a great game. When you've got this limited number of slots, do you put it on here? I want to know what you think, basically, about this. This is just me reeling off the list over my head into some quick thoughts and observations. I'm aware that everyone else has done this video, and I'm aware they're probably a lot better than mine, but I had to put in my 2 pence. Right, Siphon Filter, absolutely agree with this. I think that's a fantastic choice. I absolutely loved that game back in the day. A selection of weapons, tasering people till they burst into flames, solidly made, quite hard to play, good story, stuff like that. That's a very, and a third person game, you know, third person shooter, that's an absolute no-brainer. But as soon as I said third person shooter, something springs straight to mind. Again, this might be licenses and stuff like that, but why isn't Doom on here? I know people will say that's the preserve or something that most people associate with PC gaming. I say bollocks. Doom was a massive, massive big deal on here. And also I would probably say in the first person realm, you know, since we got slots in here that are kind of wasted, Toshid and I'm looking at you, Alien Trilogy and Die Hard Trilogy, aren't they two no-brainers? They're two of the most famous PlayStation games. What I said earlier on though about PlayStation exclusives, no, PlayStation games, you know, that blow you away. Right, so after Siphon Filter, Tekken 3, absolute no-brainer, absolute phenomenal fighting game, best 3D fighting game on the system. Again, Toshton, why is that even on here? I mean, if you were going to have 2 fighting games on it, you could have probably got away with another version of Tekken. Hell, you could have had Soul Edge. That would have been a good one, wouldn't it? Get rid of Toshton and bang in Soul Edge. But then does that come back to each company has only got a limited number of slots they are offered, so Sony can offer this to many, many different companies to, you know, get as much content or variety of content. Even though I disagree with some of these titles, but variety of content on there kind of makes sense. Although then Capcom have got, you know, a couple of slots. So yeah, Tekken 3, I mean, it was a graphical powerhouse. I love that game still. Still looks impressive to me. What it'll look like in HD, quite looking forward to that. Oh, come on, December the 3rd. Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six. I am very, very surprised that this is on here. Not because I think the game is pants, because I'm sure there are people who love it. And I like the Rainbow Six games, but really, as a sort of list of everyman, everyday entry covering a wide variety or genre of gaming, isn't that a little bit too technical and specific for your average entry gamer? I don't know. Again, I'd love to know what you think, but yeah, Tom Clancy, Rainbow Six, really not sure about that. And next one, Twisted Metal, absolute no-brainer. I'm pretty sure loads of people are really, really, really chuffed about having that on there. And Wild Arms. I've not played Wild Arms, so I'm going to hold judgment on that. Like I said, I've not played all of these. I've played the majority of these, but it's not about that. It's about, I think, some of these slots could have gone to, or should have gone to bigger games. You can't please everyone all of the time when it comes to these lists, but why isn't Parappa the Rapper on it? GT1, GT2, if we ignore the fact that it might be licenses, you know, some more of the Capcom stuff. Hell, Resident Evil 3 would have been on it. Parasite Eve, I know, maybe they could have done what they did with Star Fox 2. Maybe they could have taken some Japanese games that never got a Western release and translated them. You know, R-Type Collection would have been nice. Just see, this is what it is, and I'm sure everyone, or maybe this list is perfect for some people, but I'm sure everyone has a completely different list in their head. But you could, and you can just sit here reeling off, you know, names and titles and stuff like that. But it is interesting, which is why I had to make this video. I'm just seeing if there's any amendments here. I had to make this video, and yeah, I'd love to know what you think. But there you go, there's another one, which is, you could argue that GTA 2 would have been better for the PlayStation on here than GT1. You don't have to go with the first game, do you? Hence the fact that they went with Ridge Racer Type 4. Yeah, and also I will say this, and this is just my thoughts and my opinions, But right now, with the mini N64 coming along, and generally there is a consensus, you know, online that this is not the greatest list ever. Generally, with the N64 mini coming along now, I think they have a chance to knock it out of the park and steal the limelight from this, because it got announced earlier by just not putting a stinker on there. Mind you, having said that, if you look at the mini NES and the mini SNES, you can argue they're pretty good at not putting stinkers on there. And yes, I know they don't own the rights to, you know, GoldenEye and the rare stuff, but I think there's enough solid Nintendo first-party titles alone that, you know, would just give it the edge over this. So anyway, just a quick off the top of my head, I really wanted to do it because the first thing I thought when I read this list was underwhelming. But am I wrong? Am I an idiot? As always, I'd love to know what you think, especially if you think this is an absolutely fantastic list. And as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you later.